Hi, welcome to your Silver Circle. I'm Anita.
And I'm Mary Lee, and today we'd like to talk to you about retirement and friendships.
The one thing that I keep hearing about is how people are lonely and they don't have friends anymore. And that was so surprising to me. That's not what I
It
thought
was
people
the
would talk
number of
about.
people that have mentioned that to us
Yeah,
is what caused us to want to have this conversation
right,
today. And in thinking about of it, for me, a lot of my friends were work friends.
right.
I really enjoyed the people that I worked with,
Yeah,
and so those are people that you spend a big portion of your day
right,
with.
right,
And with some of the people that you worked with, you may remain friends and be doing things with them outside of work once you've retired, or you may not.
well, some of them you're
That can
like, I'm
change.
so glad I don't have to be around that person anymore. And others, you're like, wow, I really miss that person. It's almost like a marriage breaking up
Well,
because you're with
and
them like 8 hours a day if you
right.
work full time.
And one of the things I've noticed, because I've continued to get together for lunches and that sort of thing, is the things that we talked about,
Hmm.
I'm not involved in anymore. So
So does
while
that
I'm
affect?
interested
Yeah.
in what's going on at work, I'm not invested like I was when I was working. And so those friends where we had other interests that we shared,
Mhm.
it's a little easier to continue that friendship. But what we're hearing from people is it's really sort of hard
Right.
to make new
Make
friends.
new as an adult, it's really hard to make new friends, and then even as a mature person, it's really hard to make.
Well, and you've been spending a lot of time at work.
Right. Right.
And so, you maybe haven't developed other interests. We have friends that are fellow writers.
Right.
And so, I think you may have friends that share interest, but, it's really an important piece of
Right.
retirement is to have some friendships.
Well, I think it's important for your mental health, your physical health, uh, just to even know, like, how to interact with people. Because I know so I work from home now. And I find that when I am around people now, especially my really good friends, I'm just like word vomit. It's like, I'm so glad to see somebody I love and I want to spend time with. And then it's like I forgot how to interact as a normal
Yeah,
friend.
we can become hermits.
Right.
You're at
Right.
home, but they're finding that friendships and relationships and that sense of community are really important in dementia prevention.
Really?
There's research around that that's really an important part of that, as you mentioned, that mental health piece.
Right.
So
Right.
it's something that not to be taken lightly.
Exactly.
It's something that can impact your physical health too.
Right. And I think that comes from a lot of different aspects of
Mhm.
having friendships. When you have friends, you're out, you're moving about, you're doing things. And so you're automatically moving. You're not sedentary. You're just automatically, because you have friends, you're doing things, even if it's just going out to lunch.
Right.
You still had to move from the house to the car, or maybe you're walking. I wish where we lived, you could actually walk towards places. There's just,
Yeah.
that they're so far away. I'm sure there are people out there that are like, yeah, I walk 5 miles to go where I want to go. I'm not that person.
Yeah, it depends on the area that you're in,
Right.
but, you
Right.
know, that there's still an opportunity, you just have to work harder
Right.
at
You're
doing
right.
some of those
Yep.
things,
Yep.
you have to sort of plan for them, and that's sort of the other thing that is kind of a point that we wanna make about making friends is you may have to work at it.
Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard to put yourself out there. I think as we get older, we do the, oh, we're set in our ways. We're have become accustomed to doing things a certain way or to liking things a certain way. And so it's really hard to put yourself out there and maybe to be the first person to kind of reach out and make that gesture. Um,
Mhm.
it's funny to me because you just kind of seem to be the person other people are drawn to. And so they're like, "Oh, hi, let me tell you my life story." And you're just like, "Okay, what's your name?"
That's just sort of been my identity throughout my life.
But what I love about you too is that when people do that, you don't shut them down. Like
No, I'm genuinely
you
interested.
are, and
I'm
you're
genuinely
receptive. You're
interested.
receptive to that. And so, I think that's another thing is when somebody comes up to you and makes that effort, be receptive to them.
Be open. Be
Yeah,
open.
be open.
Well, we talked about some ways that you can make friends, and you may have some of your own,
Hmm.
depending on what your interests are. But one of the things that we were continually seeing was church,
Yes.
and church is a great place
Yep.
to make friends.
Especially if you're in the Midwest.
It is, you're getting together,
Yep.
and there are people there that share your values, and that's a great place to make
Right.
friends. But it's not the
It's not
only
the only
place.
place. Right.
I mentioned earlier hobbies or
Yep.
interests,
So we have our
um,
writing group, we
our
have our
writing
writing
group,
friends. We used to do a lot more traveling and going to conferences
conferences. Yep,
in the past.
yep.
That's changed a little bit, but we still do that. And so
Uh-huh.
it's fun to see our friends from all over the world.
Book
So we have
clubs,
that. Yep.
clubs of various interests. I have a friend who her husband restores cars. And, so they've developed friendships among that community.
Going through the cars. So I know that you're more into this than I am. I'm just kind of getting into it, but like genealogy. And so
Yes.
I know that if you're like really into that, there's a
Yes.
lot of
If
group.
that's so cool, because there's so many people that in the genealogy world are much better at it than I am, and willing to share their knowledge.
Right.
So that's a great place to make friends if you have an interest
Right. Because
in
there's
family
organizations.
history.
Yeah, there's organizations online, there's local organizations,
Hmm.
there's Facebook groups, there's all kinds of different ways to connect with people if you're interested in it.
Another idea is, and we sort of always go here because we're rescue pet people, are around your pets if you have pets, or volunteering,
Yes.
volunteering at a pet rescue or
Or to be a foster.
a foster
Yep. We have
parent.
friends that do foster cats, foster dogs, Weimaraners.
And I have a friend who volunteers at a food pantry.
Hmm.
There are other volunteer
Right.
opportunities like
You can go to the
um,
schools and read.
schools.
Yep. You can do libraries.
Nursing homes are always looking
Yeah.
for people
Meals
to.
on Wheels.
Yep.
And then
What
you're
did we
not the
forget?
we said hospitals, right?
We said libraries, nursing homes, schools,
Hospitals. I think that's
pet rescue, food bank. They're really, we have another friend who volunteers for the Red Cross,
yes.
volunteers and goes places where they're dealing with emergencies. So, it's really sort of a look at what
What
things
you're
that
passionate about.
that you're passionate
Yep.
about.
You have another friend that volunteers for Amanda the Panda. I think that's
Yes.
probably a little more difficult
Hmm.
to get hooked into or plugged into, but still such a worthwhile place to volunteer and to be a part of and to make really uh, lifelong friends
Yep.
and really
Connections.
build that close
Connections.
bond. Yeah.
Another, talking about volunteering, there's also part-time work.
Right.
I mean, if you're interested in, I always think that I would like to get a part-time job at a bookstore. And I know that's a really bad idea, isn't it?
Horrible idea
That's a
too.
horrible idea, because I would just be trading my time for books. That would, but that's, something that I'm passionate about.
Right.
So,
Or a coffee shop.
or a coffee shop.
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
fun. You could be a barista, learn how to work the machine.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of
That would be
cool.
kind of fun. And, right now, there are tons of part-time
Oh my
job
gosh,
openings.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
lots of opportunities. Before I worked in local government, I worked in retail, and
Mhm.
I sort of miss that,
But
because
you had a fun retail job
I
too. Like,
did.
you were making people feel better.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I had a fun retail job, but especially at Christmas time,
Yeah.
because then people are happily buying
Right.
things. They're
Right.
they're shopping for things for other people. So, maybe retail's not for you, but there's something there's
That's
something
right.
there for you.
There's something there. Definitely.
The other thing when we talked through this subject was there's some things that you want to keep in mind, and one of them is don't limit yourself.
That's right.
You know, don't think, well, I can only be friends with people my age.
That's right. Oh my gosh, so a gal that I used to work with, her and I have kept in touch, and she's the age of my children, but I love getting together with her. We'll get together, we'll do a wine night, or we'll meet somewhere,
Uh-huh.
and it's just fun hearing what's going on in her world. She keeps me updated on all the current lingo, because there's certain like what you said. What does that mean? Or I'll say something and she'll laugh, and I'm like, so I just showed my age, but that's okay.
But and on the flip side of that, we had a friend that was in her 80s
Yep.
that was great fun
Yep.
and we loved spending time with. So,
Well, she was fun because she would definitely, uh, she was very good at calling you out if you were being just atrocious
she
in any
was.
way, shape, or form. She'd be like,
No.
you can't do that anymore.
And she was sometimes a little more adventurous than
Right?
than we were, right?
Remember when so this was a friend it was also a writer. It's how we met her. But she was writing a story and wanted to know what it was like. She was in the mall
Uh-huh.
and she was hiding behind the bushes. Was she
Because she
eavesdropping? Is
Well,
that what
no,
she was
she was
doing?
looking if she had a clear shot because it was a murder
Because it was a
mystery.
murder mystery, yeah.
But while she was hiding in the bushes, she was also eavesdropping.
That's the part I
You know?
remember. And so when she came to the next meeting and was telling us about this great story that she eavesdropped. I thought I would never do that.
Yeah, right.
That
But
was
she was not afraid to call somebody up and ask
yep.
questions. She was not afraid to, go out and
Call her
try this
doctor.
out.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, you can be friends with people that are younger,
Yep.
and that's wonderful. You can be friends with people that are older. Don't
Yep.
limit yourself.
Don't think it has to be within your age group.
Right.
You're just opening or you're closing yourself up to possibilities that really can enrich your life.
And, I think too, um, I recently connected with a friend that my oldest friend, we like to say, because we were in the nursery together when we were
Like
born.
literally the
Like
newborn
literally the
nursery.
oldest friend. Yeah. The actual
Yeah.
when we were born. She was born either the day before or the day after. I can't remember which it is. But anyway, we were there
She was
together
older, I'm sure of it.
and went to school together. And she and her family moved out of state.
Mhm.
She went to college in a different state and has recently come back to the Midwest.
So
She's
wonderful.
not in the same state that I'm in, but close enough that we could meet halfway.
Yeah.
So think about connecting with old friends. I mean, there's some
Friends
of
from your past.
right
Yeah.
because you may have lost touch just because you were busy,
Right.
and didn't
Right.
have the time to organize a get together. Don't wait for the class reunion. Make
No.
some connections.
Because if you're like me, the class reunion has like 400 people and I'm never going. That's not gonna happen. Your class reunion would have, 10 or 12, right?
So my class reunion is about 120 people
For the whole class?
for the whole class
For seniors or for the whole school?
for seniors.
Seniors?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's much bigger.
It was
Wasn't
the it was the
thinking it was
biggest
so
one.
small.
It was
Okay.
it was the biggest one because that boomer bump.
Yeah.
But they're even with that smaller group,
Yeah. That's still
you
a good
you
size.
really had a group of friends
Mhm.
that because you're in the band
Right.
or because you were, in whatever
Yep.
interest you were in, maybe you played sports, maybe you were in chorus, uh, those were probably the people you spent time with
Right.
was
Right.
more around those interests.
Yeah.
So track them down. It's fairly easy anymore to find people
Yeah.
on social
Oh, good.
media. So find some of those friends.
Yeah. And then, of course, be a friend. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. But the other thing is to don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. Don't be afraid to make a conversation, make eye contact, and a smile. That is the easiest way to get to know somebody is to make eye contact and smile. And if nothing more, you've probably just made their day.
And, I think too, you have to keep trying.
Right. Yep.
So maybe reach out to that old friend and they've gone a way different path. Or maybe you try to make that connection at your volunteer gig or at book club, and it doesn't go well. Keep trying.
Right.
It's not that there's any magic sort of formula here, right? And you need to be yourself
Right.
and be real, but know that, sometimes the connection happens, sometimes it doesn't. Keep trying.
And maybe it doesn't happen right then. I am notorious. I am the person, I'm the friend who you had from years past who you will contact. I will get the email or the Facebook message and I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so great to hear from them. And then leave you on red for like a week.
Oh, you're that
I am
person.
that person because you something else will kind of take a priority. And so, if you don't
Yeah.
hear back right away, don't think it's you. It's probably them, especially if, you were close. God bless my one friend. She just reaches out again. Hey, haven't heard. It's been a month. And I'm like, okay, you finally got me. Yes. Let's talk. Let's set up a time to call. So, don't think that, like Mary Lee said, be persistent, try again.
Mhm.
Don't just be like, oh, I texted and they never responded.
Well, and this is much like the other things we've talked about in retirement. Don't just sit back and wait for it to happen.
Oh gosh.
You've got to
do.
be
Yeah,
you've got to be in the game.
that's right.
You in order to make friends, it's not like you have to force it, but put yourself out
Right.
there, interact.
Be the kind of friend you want someone to be with
Exactly.
you. Did I
Exactly.
say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I knew what you meant.
But in my head, it sounded really good, but verbally, blah, 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 did not come out very
And it
well.
may feel funny. You may feel kind of awkward at first, like, you know, this
Especially if
isn't.
you've been alone for a while. Again,
Yes,
you can
yes.
feel free to use me as an example. You go out there and you just, word vomit everything. Um, it's okay. Laugh
Well,
at it
and
and move on.
and one thing that we're seeing is people that are in the workforce, some of them have gone back to in-person work,
Hmm.
but some of them are home permanently.
Yep.
They're never going back to the office. And so I think that's sort of a case of it's very easy to become isolated
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. You could become a hermit. If I didn't have other outside interests,
Mhm.
I know that I easily could become a homebody and never leave the house.
Yeah.
My husband, he doesn't mind going out, but
Yeah.
he's not one that's just going to be like, every day, let's go out. He gets to where it's like, okay, we've been home long enough. Let's go do something. So,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
and Tim is sort of it makes him crazy.
Yeah.
He's very gregarious and an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert.
Yeah.
So left to my own devices, I'm home in my yoga pants reading a book.
Right.
And
Or watching
so
YouTube videos.
or watching YouTube videos or watching some
British
British movie
TV show.
marathon or something. Or something. But it's having those things
Right.
that I know I need to have those things to go to. Maybe I do. Anita and I go to an e-gym, which is a, a whole other podcast. But we,
But
I
for a good reason.
right, right, and
E-gym is the electronic
I
gym. It's
do
machine.
a water exercise class,
Yep.
and I've found friends there. It's very it has to be
And that's
planned, or I will stay home.
right.
It has to be.
But that's a great example of where you So we talked about doing like hobbies and interests, but something else that it was like, okay, I need to make a lifestyle change. I need to be more active. And so
Mhm.
I'm going to join a water group. And so it helps that your husband teaches it, but it does. You're still there. You didn't have to go. But just by being there and being faithful to that, it's allowed you to make new friends.
And gets me out of the
And
house.
it gets you out there. And the friends that you've made are just great people. They're
Mhm.
a lot of fun. And you
Well,
wouldn't have had
and
that if you hadn't have
I think
chosen.
some of that is, they're there for the same reason I am,
Right. That
is
mutual interest
right, right, and
or
so
the
I
same type of health report. Look at those numbers.
it's time to get moving. So, make a list,
Yeah.
write down some options and, come up with some things that you're gonna try.
Yep. Absolutely. And then, I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well, one of the things we wanted to touch on, because this has come up in the people that
That's
we've
what I'm trying
talked
to
to,
remember. Yeah.
is there are a lot of online
Thank you.
connections,
That's what we were going to talk about. Yes.
somebody mentioned
Next
Nextdoor
door
or
meetup.
Meetup, and
Yes.
I guess we just want to caution
Yes.
a little bit
Thank you.
about those things that, while they're good, you also don't know who's on the other
On
end
the other
of.
end. That's right.
So make sure that in those spaces that you're staying safe.
That you're safe, that you show caution, that you show good judgment. Um, and if at all possible, meet people when you do meet people in a public area.
In a public place where there are other people
Yes.
around. And
Coffee shops, parks.
yeah.
Not people go to the mall anymore, but you can walk a mall.
Oh, I was at the mall with the granddaughters. Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Do they go to
It
the
was so busy. I couldn't believe how busy the mall was.
Are they
But
young
that's
people?
not all of them.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, not all of them.
All right.
That's a great place where there are other people around.
Yeah.
So just,
And you can ditch
not that those,
somebody if
yeah,
they're the crazy ones. Like, you're like,
exactly.
oh no,
Exactly.
I was being a woman.
But it's not that those types of things are bad.
Right.
It's just that you need to go into them with um, a bit
Awareness.
of awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, that reminds me is if you do go to meet someone you've never met before, is let someone else know what you're doing.
Mhm.
My daughter is
Absolutely.
very good at that. If she's going to meet somebody that, she's only spoke with them online, she's always like, hey, mom, I'm going here. This is where I'm going to be. This is who I'm seeing. Here's a screenshot of
Uh-huh.
what they're supposed to look like. And can you
Because
please
the new
text
thing on
me?
social media is that spoofing,
Yes.
someone else's
Yeah.
legitimate page,
Yeah.
and
Or now that you can just make up someone's image out from AI.
yeah.
So
So be
yeah, be
careful.
careful. Yeah. Not that we think anything horrible is going to happen to you because we don't, but we just want you to be safe.
Right.
We write
Right.
murder mysteries. Keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
So we can't help but go there.
That's right. Okay. Let's end on a positive note. Go out there.
Yep. Be optimistic. Keep
Keep
trying.
trying.
Branch out, both in terms
That's
of
right.
age groups
Be
and
receptive.
interests. Be yourself
Absolutely. And smile.
and don't give up.
That's right. All right.
All right.
That's about it. We covered it.
Yeah, but it's been great talking with you. As always, we invite your ideas on topics. So if there's something you'd like us to cover, please let us know in the comments or via our website, which is yoursilvercircle.com.
Go ahead if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel and then smash that notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. We're uploading about every other week right now, typically on a Thursday. Hopefully we'll stick with that.
All right. It's been great. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye.